Okay, so for today, we'll have our discussion about the math of finance. Okay, so let's have the three subtopics that we're going to discuss. Okay, the first one is the simple and compound interest, and then the next one is the exact and ordinary interest. So if you will remember, this is one of the topics that you have discussed during your business mathematics in your senior high school. Okay, so it's just a recall. Okay, and then we have here also with the credit cards and finance charges. So we're going to identify what is credit cards, what is its use, and what are the process in obtaining this credit card, and at the same time, what's the transaction, okay, of that credit cards? What are the terminologies that we need to remember when we have this, and also when it comes to the finance charges. Okay, so first let's start with the simple interest. Okay, so the simple interest is the computed on the original principal for any period or length of time money is borrowed, lent, or invested. So if you will remember, the formula for the simple interest here is I is equal to P times R times T. Okay, where I is the interest, P is the principal, R is the rate, and then T is for the time. Okay, so remember that we're going to discuss here the simple annual interest. Okay, so our time here is annual. Our consideration here is simple annual interest. Okay, so another one we have here the term future value or maturity value. So uh, this is the total amount and added when we added interest. Okay, so we use the term future value and maturity value interchangeably. Okay, but for technicalities, and usually the term maturity value is used for the loan, while for the future value, it is usually for the investment. Okay, but anyway, it has the same formula that all we need to do is to add the principal amount and the interest. Okay, and if we're going to use the formula earlier, then we'll have this. Okay, so future value is equal to P times the quantity of 1 plus RT. Okay, so let's utilize all of this in answering the following problems. So example number 1, Monica borrowed 32,500 pesos at 15% interest for 3 years. So find the interest and the maturity value. So to solve this, we have our given the principal amount of 32,500, the rate of 15 or 15%, and then we have the time, which is 3 years. Okay, so all we need to do is to substitute that. We have the 32,500 times 0.15 times 3. Okay, so we'll have our interest as 14,625 pesos. While for the maturity value, all we need to do is to add the principal amount to the interest. So that is 32,500 plus 14,625. And the maturity value here is 47,125 pesos. Let's have another example. Phoebe lent 3,000 pesos at 8% for 6 months. How much will she get at the end of the term, and how much interest did she earn? Okay, so take note, since we have the formula I is equal to PRT is for simple annual interest, look at the time. Okay, the time here is 6 months. So we need to convert that into years. So in order to do that, we need to divide that 6 months to 12. Okay, which is 6 over 12, or simply 1 half. Okay, 6 over 12 or 1 half. And then we can substitute that to our formula, 3,000 times 0.08 times 6 over 12, or simply 1 half, or 0.5. And then by multiplying all of that, our interest here is 120 pesos. For the maturity value, all we need to do is to add the principal amount to the interest. So that's 3,000 plus 120. That is 3,120 pesos. Another example, example number 3. If a principal of 6,500 pesos earns interest of 192 pesos in 3 years and 3 months, what interest rate is in effect? Okay, so here we have the given the principal amount, the interest, and the time. So we are after with the rate. Okay, so we need to manipulate the formula. Okay, so in order to solve for the rate, okay, we all we need to do is to just substitute it to our formula. That's principal amount of 65, interest of 192, and then since again we have 3 years and 3 months, so we need to convert that 3 months into years, so 3 over 12. 3 over 12 or 1/4 or 0.25. Okay, then let's substitute. We have that 192 is equal to 65 times R times 39 over 12. Okay, to solve for R, we need to divide both sides by 65 times 39 over 12. Okay, so if you're familiar, we also use the method or the strategy, the triangle I equals PRT. Okay, so let's say we're going to find for the rate, all we need to do is to divide the interest to the product of the principal and the time. Okay, so again, in order to solve for the rate, okay, so all we need to do is to divide that interest to the product of the principal times the time. Okay, so we'll have this one. Okay, so 192 divided by 65 times 39 over 12. Okay, and then if we're going to compute that, if we're going to input that to our calculator, we'll have that 0.091 or 0.91%. Okay, so you can use the improper fraction 39 over 12, or you can use that 3 and 3 over 12 as mix, or 3.25 if you have the decimal. Okay, so here we get that 0.91% by multiplying this one by 100. So 0.0091 times 100 is 0.91%. Okay? Okay, another one. Rachel earned 1,225 on her 10,500 invested capital, earning 10% interest. Find the term of the investment. Okay, so here, we're going to identify the time. Okay, we're going to identify the time. So, in order to solve that, we need to divide the interest to the product of the principal and the rate. Okay, since we have this given, okay, then we can just simply substitute it to our formula, and then we can have the derivation from that. Okay, so we divide the interest to the product of the principal amount and the rate. Okay, and then if we're going to solve that, t is equal to 1.17 years. Okay, so t is equal to 1.17 years. So if we're going to convert that 0.17 into months, let's just multiply it by 12. Okay, let's just multiply it by 12. So 0.17 times 12, that's approximately 2 months. Okay, so that is 1 year and 2 months. Okay? Now, let's have the concept of the compound interest. Okay, so here we're going to explore the compounded value and the present value. Okay, we're not going to solve for the rate or the time or the compounding periods here. But since it's just a recall, we are after with the compounded amount and the present value only. Okay, and we have the formula F is equal to P times the quantity 1 plus R over N raised to N times T. Where F is the total amount, P is the principal amount, R is the interest rate, T is time in years, N is the number of compounding periods. Okay, so what are those compounding periods? So we consider here one annually, okay, and then for semi-annually, so that's twice in a year, and then quarterly we have four times in a year. So monthly we have 12, so 12 months. And then we have daily for ordinary, that's 360. Okay, but later this one, we're going to discuss this in exact and ordinary days. Okay, ordinary interest. Okay, so let's try to solve this problem. Calculate the compound amount when 10,000 pesos is deposited in an account earning 8% interest compounded semi-annually for 4 years. So we have here our given 10,000 pesos. We have the rate of 0.08. We have semi-annual since this is semi-annual. Okay, so this is semi-annual. We have n is equal to 2. And then we have the time for 4 years. So all we need to do is to substitute this in our formula. We'll have 10,000 times the quantity of 1 plus 0.08 divided by 2 raised to 2 times 4. Okay, and then if we're going to input this in our calculator, we're going to have 13,685.69 pesos. Okay, so you can input that in your calculator. So I prefer that you're using a scientific calculator so that you can easily input that. Okay, and get the result of this. Okay. Let's have another example. Example number 6. Find the compound interest if 5,500 pesos is invested at 8% compounded quarterly for 5 years and 6 months. So in this case, we're going to identify for the compound interest. Okay, so for us to solve for the compound interest, all we need to do is to subtract that future or the compounded amount to the present or the principal amount. Okay, so we have here our given 5,500 pesos as our principal amount. We have the rate of 0.08. And then since it is compounded quarterly, okay, so n is equal to 4. And then our time here is 5 years and 6 months. Okay, and if we're going to convert that 6 months into years, so that's 6 over 12. Okay, and that 6 over 12 is 1 half. So that is 0.5. Okay, so therefore that is 5.5 years. Okay, then let's try to substitute that to our formula. 5,500 times the quantity of 1 plus 0.08 over 4 raised to 4 times 5.5. So we have here our F as 8,502.89. But since we are after with the interest, all we need to do is to subtract the future value to the present value. Okay, so that's 8,502.89 minus 5,500. Okay, and then if we're going to solve that, we'll have 3,002.89 pesos. Okay, 3,002.89 pesos. So that is our interest. Okay? Let's try to solve another problem. How much interest is earned in 6 years on 8,000 pesos deposited in an account paying 9% interest compounded monthly? Okay, so here, we're just going to solve again for F for the compounded amount. So we have 8,000 times 0. And we have R as 0.09. And since this is compounded monthly, okay, we're going to use N as 12. Okay, and our time here is 6 years. So let's just substitute. We have that 8,000 times the quantity of 1 plus 0.09 divided by 12 raised to 12 times 6. Okay, then if we're going to input that to our calculator, we'll have the result of 13,700.42. Okay, but again, the question here is the interest. Okay, since we are after with the interest, we're going to subtract the F to the principal amount. Okay, and that is 13,700.42 minus 8,000. And we're going to have 5,700.42 as our interest. Okay, this is our interest. Okay? Now, what if we're going to find the present value or the principal amount? Okay? Let's try to derive it from our formula, compound interest. We'll obtain this one. Okay, we'll obtain this formula. Okay, so let's try to use this. We divide the f, or the compounded amount, to the quantity of 1 plus r over n raised to n times t. Okay, and let's try to apply that here in our example. Okay, so let's say we have here the question, how much money should be invested in an account that earns 8% interest compounded quarterly in order to have 30,000 pesos in 5 years? Okay, so we have here our given as F as 30,000 pesos. So we need to have 30,000 pesos in 5 years. Okay, and then we have R here, which is 0.08, that's 8%. And then we have our N as 4, since this is quarterly. We have T as 5 years. So let's try to substitute that to our formula. So we'll have the 30,000 divided by the quantity of 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 raised to 4 times 5. Okay? So if we're going to solve that, we're going to calculate that. The result is 20,189.14. Okay, so that is the present value. So you needed 20,189.14 to obtain the 30,000 pesos in 5 years, given this condition. Okay, so take note of that. Okay, let's have another example. How much money should be invested in an account that earns 9% interest compounded semi-annually in order to have 20,000 pesos in 5 years? Okay, so here, we're going to have, again, the given, since we need to have the 20,000 pesos, we will calculate for the present value or the principal amount. Okay, so that's 20,000 for F, and our rate here is 0.09. And since this is semi-annual, so that's 2, and our time here is 5 years. So if we're going to substitute, we're going to have 20,000 divided by the quantity of 1 plus 0.09 divided by 2 raised to 2 times 5. Okay, and the present value here, if we're going to calculate it, we'll have 12,878.55. Okay, so in order to obtain the 20,000 pesos in 5 years, given this condition, you need to have the principal amount or present value of 12,878.55. Okay? Now, let's have our second subtopic here, which is the ordinary and the exact interest. Okay, so in order to solve some problems with regards to this, we need to have the concept of ordinary and exact time. Okay, so when it comes to ordinary time, all months are considered to have 30 days, okay, including February. So 30 times 12 is 360 days. So in total, we have 360 days for the ordinary time. And then we have also for the exact time, which is the actual date, okay? And we have the total of 365 days. Okay, we have the total of 365 days. So now, here, it's important for us to recall the number of days on each month. Okay, so therefore, we need to remember this. Okay, so the handy-dandy knuckle calendar, so that we can have our guide for our number of days on each month. Okay, so consider that you have your hand, your fist here. We have the knuckle bumps and knuckle gaps. Okay, we have the knuckle bumps and knuckle gaps. So as you can see here, the knuckle bumps, those are the months that has 31 days, while knuckle gaps 30 days. Okay, so as you can see here, January, so knuckle bumps, so that's 31 days. And then for February, except for February, it's 29 or 28 days. Depends if we have our leap year. And then we have the March, so that is 31 days, knuckle bumps. And then April, we have knuckle gaps again, so that's 30. In May, we have knuckle bumps, so that's 31 days. And in June, we have knuckle gaps of, so that's 30 days. Then July, we have 31 days since it's a knuckle bump. And then another one here, on your other hand, August, is still in knuckle bumps, so therefore this is 31 days. And then here in September, we have the knuckle gaps, so that's 30 days. And then we have here in our October, that's knuckle bumps, that's 31 days. And then November, we have the knuckle gaps, that's 30 days. And then lastly, December, as knuckle bumps, for that's 31 days. Okay, so you can take note of this so that you will not forget the number of days, okay, on each month. Okay? And then we have our formula here for the ordinary interest and exact interest. So as you can see, it's in the nature of the simple interest. We have the principal times the rate times the time. Okay, but in this case, we're going to consider for ordinary interest that we have that number of days, we divide it with 360. Okay, we divide it with 360. On one hand, we have here the exact interest wherein we'll have the principal times rate times the number of days divided by 365. Since this is exact time, so we need to divide. Okay, we need to divide exact interest rather. We need to divide this by 365. Okay? Now, if we're going to consider the ordinary and exact interest, ordinary and exact time, we have four cases. Okay, we can have the ordinary time, ordinary interest, exact time, exact interest, exact time, ordinary interest, and then the ordinary time and exact interest. Okay, but we're going to focus here on the first two examples. We're going to solve some problems with regards to this. But let's discuss the purpose of the three. Okay, so usually we have this three. Okay, so we have the ordinary time and ordinary interest. It is used in personal loans when monthly payments are made. While we have exact time and exact interest, it is used for short-term loans. Okay, it is used for short-term loans. And then we have the last one, exact time, and then we're going to use the ordinary interest. It is called as the banker's rule. So if we're going to compare all the four cases here, the largest interest here is this one, the exact time and the ordinary interest. That's why the banks are usually using this. Okay, it's not just beneficial for the banks, but also to those who save in banks. Okay, because they're using this. Okay, in computing for the interest. Okay, so let's try to solve some problems involving this. Okay, example number 1, ordinary interest. Find the interest on a 2,500 peso loan at 3% for 60 days using ordinary time. Okay, so we have here the given principal amount of 2.5. We have the rate of 3%. And then we have D as 60 days. Okay, so all we need to do is to compute for the ordinary interest. Let's substitute. So we have here 2,500 pesos times 0.03 times 60 over 360. Okay, and then if we're going to input that to our calculator, that 25 times 0.03 times 60 over 360, the result of that is 12 pesos and 50 centavos. Okay, so that's 12 pesos and 50 centavos. Okay, let's have another example. Genesis loan of 5,000 pesos was made on June 8 at 6% interest and was repaid on November 19. Find the interest using ordinary time. Okay, so in this case, we have the principal amount of 5,000, we have the rate of 6%, but here, instead of having the given as the days, we need to compute the number of days given that it started with June 8 and was repaid on November 19. Okay, since we are after with ordinary time, all months here are 30 days. Okay, so in order to compute that, let's have this. So starting with June, so since 8 days has been passed, so that is 30 minus 8. So 30 minus 8, that's 22 days. Okay, that is 22 days. And on July, August, September, and October, so all of those months, 30 days. So 30 days times 4, that's 120 days. Okay, and then for the November, we have 19. So that's 19 days. So let's add that, 22 days plus 120 days plus 19 days. So that's 161 days. Okay? Then let's just substitute that to our formula since this is ordinary interest. So we have that 5,000 times 0.06 times 161 over 360. Okay? So that's 134.17. So if we're going to calculate that, 5,000 times 0.06 times 161 over 360, the answer to that is 134.17. Okay. How about if we're after with the exact interest? Okay, how about if we're after with the exact interest? So find the interest on a 8,500 pesos, 5% and 90-day loan, and using the exact time. Okay, so we have here P as 8,500 pesos. We have the rate of 5%, and then we have D as 90 days. Okay, so let's just substitute that to our formula of exact interest. So that's 8,500 times 0.05 times 90 over 365. Okay, so if we're going to calculate this, identify the product, we'll obtain 104.79 pesos. Okay, so that's 85 times 0.05 times 90 over 365. Okay, the next one. A 3,500 loan was made at 8% interest on July 9 and repaid on December 1. So find the interest using exact time. So in this case, again, we're going to compute for D since there's no total number of days that is given. So it started with July 9 and repaid on December 1. So let's compute for the number of days. So this is exact time. So therefore, we need to consider the exact number of days on each month. Okay, so to have that, on July, we have 31 days. Okay, so 31 minus 9, so that's 22 days. Okay, so 31 minus 9 is 22. And then on August, we have 31 days. On September, we have 30 days. October, we have 31 days. On November, we have 30 days. And on December, we have 1 day. So if we're going to add that 22 days plus 31 plus 30 plus 31 plus 30 plus 1, the total for that is 145 days. Okay, the total for that is 145 days. Then let's just substitute it in our formula. So that is 3,500 times 0.08 times 145 times over 365. Okay, so we can calculate that 35 times 0.08 times 145 over 365. Okay, and our exact interest here is 111.23 pesos. Okay, that is 111.23 pesos. Now, let's proceed to the last subtopic here, which is the credit cards and finance charges. Okay, so here, credit cards are the plastic or metal cards that we use for us to make a purchase. Okay, it's basically a loan to a bank. Okay, so when it comes to credit cards, it involves the holder, you, and then the issuer, which is the bank. Okay, and we also have here, if you have that credit card, if you're going to use that credit card to purchase a certain product, certain good, there's a finance charge there. Okay, a finance charge is an amount paid in excess of the cash price, and it is the cost to the customer for the use of the credit. Okay, so take note, since it's a loan, sometimes we have this, okay, interest. Okay, it depends on different banks, it varies, depends on their policies. Now, how do we get a credit card? So, here in the Philippines, usually the main requirement here, you should be at least 21 years old and you have your stable job, or you have your business. Okay, some banks such as Union Bank, they offer that if you are at least 18 years old, you can avail this. You can have this. but provided that you give the necessary documents. Okay, so first you need to fill out the forms. Okay, it could be online, it could be on physical. Okay, so sometimes there's in the physical stores, especially in gadget area, in technology area, there are some agents that are offering credit cards. Okay, all you need to do is fill out those forms, then they will you will submit some documents, necessary documents such as that form, valid IDs, of course, to verify that is you. And then we have a certificate of compensation if you're employed, such as the payslip. Okay, so to check, to identify your credit limit, okay, based on your salary. And then latest ITR. So for those who are self-employed, if you have your business, they will monitor your income through that ITR. Okay, and then once that you submit all the necessary documents, they will try to verify that. They will check the legitimacy of that those documents. Then after that, they will have the decision: are they going to approve or are they going to reject your application? Okay. Next one. Here we have the credit card transaction. So whenever you use your credit cards, we have here the first one is the store that is involved. The next one is the processor or the network, and then the last one is the issuing bank. Okay, and every store they have here this machine, this terminal, wherein they swipe or they put or insert that card, and then from that they will go. They're going to have it delivered to the Visa, Mastercard, or Express, or the processor or network. Then from that, that processor will deliver it to the issuing bank, and the issuing bank will try to verify. They will check, okay, the credit limit, the legitimacy of that card, and then from that they will go back to the processor, the network, and then they'll make a decision, and you'll see if it is accepted or not in this terminal. Okay, it's a matter of minutes. Actually, it's a matter of minutes, a few minutes in this transactions. Okay, whenever you purchase a certain product. Okay. Now, there are other terms that you need to consider also, such as the due date. So due date is on the bill is that's usually 21 to 25 days after the billing date. Okay, so what's the billing date? The billing date is the month, date, and the year when a periodic or monthly statement is generated. So you'll have your bill, okay, the summary or the statement of your account when it comes to the things that you have bought or your payments to the bank. Okay, and we have that credit card billing cycle. So it typically lasts anywhere from 28 to 31 days. Depends on the card issuer. So usually, when it comes to credit cards, it's monthly basis. Okay, so it's every month that you'll receive that billing date, that bill rather. Okay, and then you have that billing date, and then from that billing date, all you need to do is to add that 21 or up until 25 days. Then you have the due date. And take note that you'll have your annual fee also. Okay, that annual fee is charged by the card provider every year as a cost for their service. Sometimes it is a waive uh, when you are consistent in paying your bills and at the same time using consistently using the credit card. Okay, sometimes it has some perks. Okay, and then we have here also the late payment fee. So of course it is a reminder that since it's a loan, it's a credit card, there will be late payment fees. Okay, it's charged to the cardholder when the minimum payment is not settled within the due date. Okay, now what about the finance charges? So let's focus on finance charges here. So in order to solve for the finance charges, we need to consider the average daily balance. Okay, so we have here the average daily balance. It is obtained by dividing the sum of the total amounts owed each day of the month by the number of days in the billing period. So we have here the formula, the sum divided by the number of days. Okay, and then for the finance charge, our formula here is just the same as the simple interest, but instead of having the principal amount, we'll have that average daily balance. Okay, and then we have the rate, depends on the bank, and then we have here the time. So it's usually monthly, so our T here is always 1. Okay, so T is equal to 1. Okay, so let's have an example. Okay, let's try to solve some examples here. Suppose an unpaid bill of 5,000 pesos has a due date on September 15. After the due date, the following transactions were made. September 17, purchased groceries worth 4,500. September 21, paid 2,000 pesos. September 26, purchased shoes worth 3,000 pesos. And the next billing date is October 15. The interest is on the average daily balance is 1.5% per month. Find the finance charge on the October 15 bill. Okay, so let's try to solve this. Okay, so here actually there's no problem when it comes to the rate, right? Because since it's a given here, so our rate here is 1.5%. And then since we are after with just 1 month from September 15 to October 15, so our time here is 1. Okay, our time here is 1. Okay, but the problem here now is we need to identify the average daily balance based on the given situation. Okay, so let's try to solve this. Okay, so in order to solve this, we'll have this table. Okay, we have here 5 columns. We have the dates. We have the second column, we have the payments or purchase. So if that is payment, we're going to subtract that. And if it is purchase, we're going to add that to our balance. And then for the third column, that is the balance each day. And the number of days until the balance charges is the total number of days for the dates. And then we have the unpaid balance times the number of days. So we are going to multiply the balance each day and the number of days until the balance charges. Okay, so we have this. Okay, we have this too. The third and the fourth column. Okay? So initially, in our situation, we have unpaid bill of 5,000. Okay, starting with the date September 15. Okay, and then since we are after with average daily balance, we're going to look at on each day. Okay, so starting September 15, you have your balance of 5,000. Still, on the September 16, you have your balance of 5,000 pesos also. Okay, so from September 15 to September 16, you'll have that 5,000. Okay, so September 15 and September 16, that's 2 days. Then let's just multiply that 5,000 times 2. That is 10,000. Okay, that's 10,000. And on the next transaction here, you try to purchase groceries worth 4,500. Okay, so let's just add this. Okay, so you make a purchase. So we're going to add that 4,500 to our balance. So that's 9,500. Okay, so that's 9,500. So it starts with September 17 and followed by September 18. You still have the balance of 9,500, September 19, and September 20. You still have that balance of 9,500. So September 17, 18, 19, 20. So you have that 4 days. So 9,500 times 4 is 38,000 pesos. Okay, that's 38,000 pesos. And on the September 21, you pay that 2,000 pesos. Okay, you pay. Okay, you pay. So since you paid that 2,000 pesos, you're going to subtract that to our balance. So 9,500 minus 2,000, so that is 7,500. Okay, that is 7,500. So that is from September 21, September 22, still you have that balance of 7,500, September 23, September 24, and September 25. Okay, you still have that balance of 7,500. So we have that 5 days. So 7,500 times 5, that is 37,500. Okay? And then on the next one here, our last purchase on September 26, you purchase worth 3,000 pesos. Okay, you purchase a shoe worth 3,000 pesos. So we need to add that to our balance. So 7,500 plus 3,000, that is 10,500. Okay, that is 10,500. So it starts with September 26 up until the limit before that next billing date. So that's October 14. Okay, so September 26 up until October 14. So in September, we have 30 days. So September 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that's 5 days. Plus 14 days on October. So that's 14 plus 5, 19. Okay, then let's try to multiply this. 10,500 times 19. That is 199,500. Okay, that's 199,500. Okay, then let's try to have the total for the fourth and the fifth column. So let's add that 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 19. That is 30. And then on the last column, 10,000 times 38,000 times 37,500 times 199,500. That is 285,000. Okay, that is 285,000. Okay? Now, let's compute for the average daily balance. So we have the sum, which is 285,000. We have the number of days, which is 30. So 285,000 divided by 30. And the answer to that is 9,500. Okay, that is 9,500. Okay? So now, since we have the average daily balance, our ADB, all we need to do is to just substitute all the given to our formula. So that's 95 times 1.5%. So if we're going to convert that to decimal, that is 0.015. Okay, and then we have time as 1 month. So that's 1. So 95 times 0.015 times 1 is 142.5. Okay, so therefore, the finance charge on the October 15 bill is 142 pesos and 50 centavos.